The age-old argument. Ninjas or pirates? The answer? Well, who cares? There were ninjas who were pirates. And to find these legendary ninja pirates, we first have to set sail far away from the Caribbean Captain Jack Sparrows and into the heartland of Nippon on Tsushima Island in Japan. Now, Tsushima Island happens to be a mountainous, rocky island, making it a poor island to farm, but has plenty of easily defended inlets or natural ports located halfway between Japan and Korea. This makes this island the perfect staging point for both nefarious and right-handed pirates. But the thing with pirates is that they typically do well in states that are fractured and or too far away to enforce their might, and the Wako pirates, who reigned from the 13th to the 17th century, took advantage of Japan's constant civil wars as they plundered and pillaged the straits between Korea and southern Japan. They had even engaged in 4 to 5 major raids upon Korean soil each and every single year. And despite being lightly armed and armored, the Wako pirates formed organized and disciplined forces that would push the Koreans living upon the coast to abandon their fertile soil and move inland. But with all this, it wasn't until the Sengoku Jidai, or the Warring States period, that the ninja pirates rise, fighting for the Hojo dynasty's claim to the shogunate. And these were the Fuma, led by the demon of the wind named Fuma Kotaro, a title given and not an actual name, as legend says that when the leader of the Fuma should perish, the new head clan shall give up his name and take upon the name of Fuma Kotaro, and one of them had become the legendary ninja pirate of today's video. Now this is very similar to the Kaiserus of the Romans or the Chinggis Khans of the Mongols. For the Fuma clan, they were one of the smaller ninja groups that operated outside of the Kanagawa province, and unlike most normal ninjas that did not participate in fighting, they instead were used for the roles of assassination, spycraft, and sabotage. The Fuma clan were a different breed entirely, as they specialized in horse-mounted guerrilla fighting. And no, guerrilla fighting isn't 8 boxing, however entertaining that show might be. It is instead a style of warfare where capitulation is a key to victory, as smaller, weaker, or less supplied forces take on a much larger force by means of sabotage, hit-and-run tactics, and ambushes. Guerrilla warfare is not meant to win a war directly, but instead to make the attrition too costly for the larger forces to continue the fight, and eventually they abandon the war effort altogether. And the Fuma were masters of this craft, as they would ride in with small, highly trained mounted forces and attack the enemy at its weak point before retreating back to safety. But this is all fine and dandy, but what made them pirates? These are cool ninjas and all, but you said ninja pirates! And to that, my dear viewer, I say that the Fuma forces were also specialists and masters of naval espionage. And what they lacked in resources and manpower, the traditional Wako, they were far more successful in disrupting the Hojo Mojo's enemies' coastal towns and forces. And they did this with their insane boat of choice, the submarine. That's right, the submarine. And while we would typically think of the submarine as a modern invention, they actually date back to classical antiquity, with the earliest known and recorded use of them during the siege of the Syracuse in 1415 to 1430 BC, in which divers would use submerged vessels to clear out obstacles for their navies to pass. And if you want to learn more about this, read up on Thucydides' History of the Peloponnesian War. Now I can also hear the historians crying, actually, Alexander the Great was the first. And yes, this is a half-truth, as Alexander was the first to use a diving bell during the Siege of Tyre in 332 BC. But this is a topic for another video. Back to the ninja pirates submarine, these vessels would function as a half-submerged vessel, with just the top visible above the surface, staying afloat with air bladders and waterproof leather coverings. Very primitive, slow, but stealthy enough to get past most scouts' eyes. And this is how they utilized their amphibious attacks. The most famous of which was the pirate raid upon Takeda Katsuyori's forces in 1580. This army was looking like it would end the Hojo Mojo's bid at the throne, but thanks to the Fuma clan's act of piracy, it was stopped dead in its track. For you see, the Fuma clan snuck into the bay when the army was camped in the dead of night. Embarking from the submarines, the pirates struck violently, yet coordinated. They set fires to sections of the camp, smoke signals in others, causing the army to awaken from their slumber. Disoriented and within a panic, the soldiers began to rush out to put out fires and find the enemy. And unfortunately for them, the enemy they found were the soldiers from their very own army doing the identical same thing. Unable to tell friend from foe, Takeda's army tore itself apart as the Fuma clan slept back into their ships, exiting the bay. By the morning's red sun, Takeda's army was in shambles, morale had plummeted, and they were forced to retreat back to their holdings. A simple pirate raid had won the Hojo a major victory over their rival for the throne. And if you have any further questions that you wish to have answered, just buy me a coffee in the link below. And remember, there are no stupid questions, only stupid answers.